Elon Musk's SpaceX is currently negotiating to acquire a software startup called Cursor. The proposed price tag is a staggering $60 billion. SpaceX is an aerospace manufacturer. Their business relies on heavy manufacturing, metallurgy, and orbital physics. Cursor, on the other hand, was founded in 2022 and produces no physical products. To understand what SpaceX is actually buying, we have to look at Cursor's core product. At its foundation, Cursor is a modified version of Microsoft's VS Code, a text editor that anyone can download for free. The startup's primary innovation is layering artificial intelligence tools over that open-source architecture to help developers write software. Just a few months ago, investors valued Cursor at $10 billion. Now, that price has multiplied by 6 seemingly overnight. You don't hand over $60 billion for a text editor wrapper unless you are trying to solve a massive, immediate problem. This move signals that SpaceX is executing an aggressive strategy rather than a traditional corporate expansion. The reaction from the software community was immediate. Developers argue that Cursor lacks a defensible technological moat, with thousands taking to forums and documenting the cancellation of their $200 monthly subscriptions. The primary driver behind this exodus is data privacy. Professional engineers are expressing deep discomfort with handing over their proprietary, enterprise-level codebases to servers directly controlled by Elon Musk. The frustration extends to SpaceX's own equity holders. They invested in a company dedicated to building interplanetary rockets and colonizing Mars. Now they are watching their shares be diluted to fund speculative, earthbound server farms. SpaceX is preparing to spend tens of billions of dollars on a platform whose entire value relies on user data, at the exact moment those core users are abandoning the ship in protest. To manage this risk, the lawyers have structured this agreement in a very specific way. SpaceX isn't buying Cursor outright today. Instead, they are setting up a financial mechanism known as a call option. This diagram shows exactly how the call option works. SpaceX is moving $10 billion over to Cursor up front as a premium. This is a non-refundable collaboration fee that buys SpaceX the right to run an exclusive joint artificial intelligence test. Once the test concludes, SpaceX has a choice. If the results are successful, they can trigger a pre-negotiated strike price, paying the remaining $50 billion to complete the full $60 billion acquisition. If the test fails, they can walk away. That $10 billion upfront payment serves as an insurance policy. It caps SpaceX's total potential losses while locking out competitors from acquiring a highly volatile asset. To understand what they are actually testing, we have to look at Musk's artificial intelligence venture, xAI. Their current model, Grok, is behind industry leaders in a specific category called agentic AI. Agentic AI represents the shift from software that simply predicts the next line of code to an autonomous digital worker capable of planning, building, and executing complex, multi-step engineering tasks entirely on its own. xAI already possesses the physical muscle to build this. Through their Colossus supercluster, they control roughly 15% of the world's GPU computing power. However, xAI lacks the human behavioral data required to bridge the gap between simple prediction and autonomous action. You cannot teach a machine to think like a senior software engineer without feeding it massive amounts of data showing how actual humans solve novel problems. This is where Cursor earns its valuation. Cursor holds the world's best corpus of developer traces, detailed logs of the exact keystrokes, logic paths, and editing decisions made by millions of human coders. The $10 billion experiment is a simple collision of these two assets. SpaceX is going to route Cursor's vast library of human behavioral data directly through xAI's raw compute power. By running this test, SpaceX and xAI will find out definitively whether the true bottleneck to achieving an autonomous AI worker is access to computing power or access to high-quality human data. The irony of this experiment is that it's actively threatening its own success. The mere announcement of a partnership with SpaceX is causing developers to leave, threatening the exact pipeline of human data that SpaceX is paying billions to access. Those engineers are migrating their workflows to competing platforms, like Anthropic's Claude Code, to keep their work outside of the xAI ecosystem. The financial risk for SpaceX is significant. The $10 billion they are paying just to run this software test is roughly equivalent to the entire historical development cost of the Starship rocket program. SpaceX's satellite internet division, Starlink, is highly profitable, but that revenue is now being redirected to the cash burn rate required to keep these artificial intelligence data centers running. SpaceX spent 2 decades securing most of the global space launch market. Now they are jeopardizing that hardware-based stability to fund a speculative gamble in commercial software. Looking at the broader industry, the focus of AI development has moved away from consumer chatbots and directly into the infrastructure that runs enterprise software. The ultimate prize is complete infrastructural dominance. Whichever company succeeds in building the first truly autonomous coding agent will control the underlying foundation of future software development. We're watching an aerospace manufacturer bypass its own industry to directly challenge traditional tech giants for control over the global software supply chain. That $10 billion premium is a high-stakes wager to see if a rocket company has the capital and the computational force to engineer the perfect digital employee.